the meeting of the license. Let us call the order the meeting of the License Ordinance Committee agenda February 11th at 6 p.m. is called to order. Any comments from citizens present?
I don't see anyone here, and I don't see anything in the chat. I did invite the applicant, Mr. Nugani. I don't see him here yet, though.
Okay, if he comes in, we'll give him opportunity. Let's move on to the approval of the minutes from the last meeting on January 14th. Can I get an approval of the minutes, please?
This is Madden. I'll move approval of the minutes from the January 14th meeting.
Thank you.
Carlson, second.
Now, the first and the second, all in favor of approval of the minutes from January 14th, say aye.
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 Aye, the ayes have it. Moving on to license and permits. Application for a special event permit by Downtown Middleton Business Association, DMBA, Andrew Shuck, contact person for Sip and Stroll on May 1st, 2025 in downtown Middleton.
And Alder Jackson, if you want to address item number 3 with that as well, those two are related, both for the Sip and Stroll.
Okay. Also, application for a temporary Class B retailer's license to sell wine by Downtown Middleton Business Association, 7508 Hubbard Avenue. Andrew Shuck, Vice President for May 1st, 2024, for Sip and Stroll using approved plan DMBA 2. Any comments on this? Anybody been to the Sip and Stroll? I hear a lot about it.
I have. It's a nice event.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I've been as well. Very nice, very well done. This is similar to last year. They are planning to host 2, one in the spring being the wine walk, one in the fall being the beer and cider. And plans are extremely similar. There's a little bit of variation with the locations. I think this one looks like it's going to be maybe a little bit larger with a few more stops. I know, and then a few are going to be non-alcoholic stops, which I don't think they've had before. But yeah, other than that, I think, like I said, things are very similar to previous years. Typically, when they've applied, we've done kind of a condition that obviously the license would need to be fulfilled. I think they're still waiting on 2 bartenders license from Journeyman and Little Pop Color Shop. So we usually just wait to issue those their actual permit until those are issued.
Okay. Tyler, where are you guys on this?
Yeah, no concerns here. It's been a successful event. We haven't had many issues for this at all for years, so businesses have done a good job kind of managing that, making sure people aren't walking out on sidewalks with it or anything. I've already made sure our staff are aware this is going on for the day, just so we can provide a little extra presence, but really no issues or concerns from the public safety standpoint, as long as you all are good with that final list being approved once we have the names. If you're good with us doing that on our own, we can.
Okay.
Great.
Matt, even though we're waiting for the final approval of the permit, we can pass this on tonight, right? Approve it.
Yeah, if you're comfortable, you can say, your approval effective upon the police department approving the final list of participants.
Okay. Well, can I get a motion to approve items number 2 and 3? Application for a special event permit by Downtown Middleton Business Association and an application for a temporary Class B retailer's license sale by wine by Downtown Business Association, pending the approval of the police department's last participants.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Carlson, second.
All right, we got a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It has been approved. Hopefully, I didn't make the last one, but I'm looking to make this one.
You should. It's a good time.
All right. Item number 4, application for Class B fermented malt beverage and Class C wine licenses by Virtuvis, located at 7429 Elmwood Avenue. Hamid Najani of Madison, Wisconsin, is the agent.
I'll give a little backstory here. I do see somebody here by phone. I'm not sure if that's
That's me.
excellent.
Hi, Tyler.
I'll give you I just want to give a little bit of a lead in for you. So my understanding here is this is a license that was previously approved by L&O, although I think our entire makeup is different on the committee. But ultimately it was just allowed to lapse. So it is a reapplication for something that has been previously approved. So it's for Class B and C, beer, wine. I did stop out there last week just to kind of survey the site. You can see in your packet, the premise is sort of delineated there. And I did a brief summary where the applicant says that he wants to put in fences and gates. However, none of that is in place on the patio yet. There is that kind of short brick wall, which does kind of help cordon off the space. It's obviously set back, kind of adjacent to City Hall, but none of that is really too visible from the street or sidewalk and isn't all that terribly close. So did try to include a couple of pictures in there just so you have a bit of a lay of the land. But that, Mr. Degani, I don't know if you have any other details you want to share.
Not really. You covered it pretty much completely. It's just a tiny little coffee shop. It only seats a handful of people, and it's a neighborhood location. And we want to have an occasional evening events, a little music trio or jazz thing. And we want to make sure that our customers have access to a glass of beer and a glass of wine.
Okay. Alders, any questions or concerns?
I have none.
Okay. And you said Tyler, you said we're waiting for, well, I mean, what was the issue about the fencing?
So I was just kind of noting in there that ordinance language does specifically states that the area needs to be, let me make sure I have the exact wording here, areas outside the building. So he does want to do an outdoor patio area as long as there's adequate security and enclosure provided. So I'm just putting that out there. That's what the ordinance states. It's not like this is an entirely closed area. I'm not sure that it needs to be. I guess I'd defer to Matt for any further interpretation on that. But right now that patio area is quite open. The applicant has the intent to kind of fence it in and close it off and put some more physical, obvious barriers in there, but those are not in place right now.
Yes, Matt, you my next person. Any guidance on this?
Well, I mean, let's see, I was gonna go back and check.
Can I make a comment here?
Sure,
I think there are three issues here, if I may. One is that on the south side of the building, where adjacent City Hall, there's a wall and planting area that's pretty well defined, and I think Tyler and I walked it through, and I think that's pretty well defined. Then it's on the north side of that, on the east side of the building, on the north end of it, and that's a house that we own actually, and we like to limit access to the courtyard between the house and this building. So we intend to put a little fence there so nobody gets beyond that, and it's predominantly for the privacy of the tenants there in the house. And the third point is regarding the entrance, and there's a little wood deck that we have built there. The edges are pretty well defined. It's not a question of whether the edges are defined or not. And physically, we would like to have a greater level of definition. So as the summer approaches, it's going to be farther down the line here. As the summer approaches and people may want to sit outside under the umbrella, we want to have some sort of definition so we know where the property that can serve alcohol is and what's beyond that point. And we have discussed a few options, and we certainly consider that. So we don't intend it to be leaking out elsewhere, although we own the property adjacent to that as well. So if it does leak out, we will reach out and come back to you guys and ask for approval to expand the area. But we don't expect that kind of success.
Okay. I appreciate those comments.
I
Matt,
do think for the
can we
purposes
go
of
for-
license approval, I think the area is pretty clearly defined in the attached map. After talking to Mr. Gani last week, he kind of revised it and honed it in a little bit. So I think the premise description that we have noted on here is pretty good. The only issue, as he is mentioning, is if there were a customer out there in that kind of deck patio area, there really is no physical barrier for them to know where that premise is right now. So that's all I'm just trying to communicate, that is not in place exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, the ordinance uses the term enclosure, so I think, I mean, it's adequate, so there's judgment to be used in terms of what you think is adequate for the circumstances. So I don't think it needs to, it doesn't need to be a 8-foot high brick wall with barbed wire around it or anything, but I do think that it does require some physical barrier, so fence, railing, something physical that encloses the licensed premises. And so I think right now you could do one of two things. Right now you could approve the license with the description just including the building, the interior building area, and they could come back and seek to expand that description at a later time. Or I guess it just depends on whether you want to see what kind of enclosure actually gets erected there. I suppose you could, delegate that to the PD and give an approval effective upon that happening. And I don't know if there are current plans for enclosures. I guess if that's going to happen sometime, we could maybe just defer this and make a decision once that's erected or some kind of plan that's presented. So a lot of different options, but probably the only way just to have a clean approval tonight is to simply approve the license, but with the premises description limited to the interior of the building, and then
we are perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, and then come back once you have the enclosure.
Absolutely, we're happy to do it. More than happy to.
Yeah, it's going to be a few months anyway till I would imagine people sitting out there at least on a routine basis.
Not quite patio season, yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's Wisconsin, it could happen tomorrow.
Right. And then it'll snow on you. Indeed.
Then just my personal preference on that, just since Matt brought it up, I guess I would prefer that you all would go with the indoor option to defer rather than put that on the police department to decide what that enclosure is. I would rather we take pictures or something and present that to you all so you can make that decision. I would prefer that not be my individual decision.
Yeah, and since the applicant appears fine with that, that seems to be the better
absolutely
option.
We believe me, the definition of that space needs to be pretty clear, and it's to our advantage that's well defined.
Yeah.
Aldous, any comments?
Nope, that makes sense.
So Matt, what would the motion be, to defer it?
No, I think that there would be a motion to approve the license, except with a premises description limited to the interior of the building. So I guess you have how much? Well, is all the rest of this shown on the diagram? Is that?
Yeah, the only outdoor space on that diagram is directly south, and then just a little bit on each side of the building. The majority.
Yeah, so you'd say limited to the interior portions shown on the application. Because I just
that would be accurate. That would be accurate to our desires.
So we wouldn't. It looks like there's other parts of the building that aren't intended to be part of, or is that just?
It's a tenant. It's a tenant space, and it has nothing to do with this application.
Okay. So yeah, just the interior portion shown on the application.
Okay. So we put forth a motion to approve the application for Class B fermented malt beverage and Class C wine license, limited to the interior part of the premises that's sold on the application. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Hollis will second.
All right. That's the first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. It seems like that is the end of our agenda. Very short.
Well, thank you very much for your support. I'm looking forward to seeing you all in there for a cup of coffee.
You bet.
Oh, yes, I'll be there when you mention jazz. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and our barista, we have hired a bunch of musicians, so they're all
Oh,
going
so
to
you're gonna have
be
live
there.
musicians.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of musicians. I've got a
Okay.
piano coming. It'll be fun. Looking
Wow.
forward to seeing you guys here.
Yeah.
We look forward to supporting you guys. Definitely look forward to you guys being in the downtown area.
Sounds
It'll be
great. Thank
definitely
you so much
appreciated.
for your help. Much same here. Take care.
All right.
Bye bye.
Well, that being our agenda, I guess we call this meeting to an adjournment.
Just so you know, we did not meet the record yet. The record still is an 8-minute meeting.
Whoa.
Oh,
Came close.
oh,
We were really on pace there. I thought we might hit it, but well,
we haven't hit it yet.
But
Tyler, you
still,
got
good
something to
job,
squeeze
people.
into the agenda?
We'll have to try that again. Maybe March we can keep it nice and brief again. But
There we go.
thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
So
Hey.
Tyler, we got to work on that. We gotta figure out, just throw something in there. I mean, I don't
I like
know. To squeeze that little 8-minute window.
Well, in fairness, you didn't know that. Yeah, if you knew you had something to shoot for, maybe we would have gotten there. So,
That's
all
plus
right.
Thank you.
Have a
All
good night.
right. Have a good
Everybody.
night.
Bye.